What's your "they had no idea who I was" moment? Last Tuesday, I walked into this upscale steakhouse after finishing a 20-hour emergency surgery. I was still in scrubs, had blood stains on my sleeves, hair was a mess, and I looked absolutely exhausted. All I wanted was a decent meal before collapsing at home. The hostess took one look at me and her face twisted in disgust. "Excuse me, we don't serve hospital staff here. This is fine dining." I was confused. "I'm sorry, what? I just need a table for one." "Sir, look at yourself. You're covered in fluids. Our clientele expects a certain atmosphere." She gestured around at the half-empty restaurant. "There's a Denny's 3 blocks down. I'd been on my feet for nearly a full day. Hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. Please, I can clean up in your restroom. I just need to sit down and eat something." The manager appeared, looking me up and down like I was something she'd scrape off her shoe. "Is there a problem here?" "This person wants to dine here," the hostess said, emphasizing person like it was distasteful. The manager crossed her arms. "Sir, we have standards. Dress code exists for a reason. You're making our guests uncomfortable." A couple at a nearby table was openly staring. The woman leaned over to her husband and whispered loudly enough for me to hear, "Probably can't even afford appetizers here. Why don't they just leave?" Her husband chuckled. "Should call security before he asks for handouts." Another diner actually pulled out her phone and started recording. "This is going to be hilarious," she muttered to her friend. The manager noticed the phones and got bolder. "Look, I'm sure you work very hard at whatever job you have, but this establishment caters to professionals, doctors, lawyers, executives, people who can appreciate fine dining." The hostess nodded eagerly. "There's a Denny's right next to the hospital. Much more your speed." I felt my face burning with embarrassment. Other customers were now openly gawking, some laughing behind their hands. A server walked by and wrinkled her nose dramatically. "Honestly," the manager continued, "you should be grateful we're being polite about this. Most places would have security escort you out by now." The woman with the phone actually stood up for a better angle. "This is content gold," she said to her friend. I was humiliated, exhausted, and just wanted this nightmare to end. That's when I quietly reached into my pocket and pulled out my hospital ID badge and medical license. "I'm Dr. Rebecca Torres, Chief of Cardiothoracic Surgery at Metropolitan General Hospital," I said calmly, holding up my credentials. "I just finished a 20-hour surgery saving the life of a 7-year-old boy who was in a car accident." The entire restaurant went dead silent. The woman with the phone slowly lowered it, her face going pale. "Those fluids you're so disgusted by? That's the blood of a child whose life I saved with these hands." I held up my stained sleeves. "I've been awake for 36 hours straight, making sure he could go home to his parents." The manager's mouth was hanging open. The hostess looked like she might faint. "You know what's really interesting, though?" I continued, my voice getting stronger. "The boy's father kept thanking me, saying he owns several restaurants in the city and wants to take me to dinner when his son recovers. Said his favorite place is this little steakhouse downtown that treats everyone like family." I pulled out my phone and showed them a text message. "Robert Harrison? Ring a bell?" He texted me this address specifically, said to mention his name for the best table in the house. The color drained from the manager's face completely. "Mr. Harrison, he's our owner." "That's right. The man whose 7-year-old son is alive right now because of me. The man who's been sitting in our waiting room for 3 days praying his boy would make it." I looked around at all the stunned faces. Wonder what he'll think when I tell him how his staff treats the surgeon who saved his child's life. The woman who had been recording was now trying to delete the video, hands shaking. The couple who made the poverty comments were staring at their plates in shame. The hostess started crying. "Dr. Torres, please, we're so sorry. Save it." I turned to leave. "I'll grab something from the vending machine at the hospital. At least there, people understand the value of saving lives." As I walked out, I could hear the manager frantically trying to call someone, probably Mr. Harrison. He called me personally 2 hours later, sobbing with gratitude and horror. The entire front of house staff was terminated by morning. The manager, hostess, and that server were all gone. Mr. Harrison personally cooked my meal the next week and served it himself. The restaurant now has a policy. Medical professionals in scrubs eat free, always.